out in the south of France. And so is everybody comfortable? Do you have a drink? I'd like to officially lift our glass if we can and toast to the launch of the ringing rocks of Atlantis. Woo! Cheers to you, my friend, and around the world.
Thank
Cheers.
you so much. You're all there. I can't believe it. Thank you so much. Hi. Oh, goodness. I only see one picture at a time. So cheers. And I'm so sorry about the echo.
Well, that's all right. It's technology. Here comes Patty Ashley into our group.
Hi,
Welcome, Patty. And here comes Lynn. So we've all been lifting our glass and toasting our guest of honor. The book launch has officially begun. Another round.
Oh, and I can see all the messages people put in.
As everyone is coming in, I wanted to know if you would like to share. Some have the book, some are hearing about you for the first time. But what I wanted to ask, cheers, is what really prompted you to write this book and even the trilogy? What prompted you? I'm curious.
The urge to share. It's very, very important to discover things for yourself. And if you do, then I think it is something of an urge that came to me that I needed to share everything that I found out that I thought was illuminating.
Well, it's touching my soul, I'll tell you that right now. And I'm halfway through with it, and it's like I feel like when I'm reading it, I'm lost in the journey of all of the characters, and I love all the characters, by the way. What I might do with all the feedback, if everybody is okay with it, what I wanted to do is, can we introduce Eve?
Yes, hello.
and explain why and what. I don't want to give it away. I want you and Anneke to talk about this beautiful part, so I don't give too much away.
Don't give it away. I just downloaded all 3 of them, so no squealing.
No squealing, promise.
Is that a French word, squealing?
There you go.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
It's gonna make me cry.
So, hi everybody. So happy and honored to be here. I feel very emotional. Anneke feels like a deep, it's like a very deep soul connection that comes from way back, you know. And a couple years ago, I found a book about Mary Magdalene, and I felt really called to go on a quest to the south of France. And through a series of incredible synchronicities, I ended up meeting Anneke, that became the guide of my first retreat there. It's a very long story, so I'm going to try to make it short so that everybody has their time to share. But Anneke and I have this thing in common where we're very fascinated about the past and the ancient mysteries and the archetypal energies of ancient mysteries that lives within us. And I work with sound and the memory of our ancestors. I think sound is a key. It creates, through sound, we can remember who we really are, and through song, ritual, we can bring back the pieces of our souls that are within our soul's encyclopedia and reawakened these archetypal energy within the planetary grid and within our consciousness. So we know much more of who we are. And for that, I called Annika because she holds the keys of ancient knowledge. So both of our approaches are very, I think, can be very powerful together, because she brings the forbidden history and the ancient knowledge, and I bring the sound that brings all the energies, that completes. And so 2 years ago, we were in a cave in the south of France, guiding a retreat together. And I do rituals where I sound with people, and I bring groups on sacred sites to activate the field. And as we were doing this ritual, Annika had been doing researches on the ancient Celts, inheritance of the south of France and the Cro-Magnon. And we did this ritual in this very powerful cave, and all the ancestors came through. And there was this explosion, the electromagnetic field of the cave, and this ball of ice, shower of ball of ice just dropped from the sky all around the cave. And Annika was crying, and she was like, Eve-Marie, I really saw the ancestors awakening from the depth of the dark of the cave and passing through you and your group. And she was like, I had a very powerful vision. And to my understanding, that's one of the place where that's one of the moment where the book started, or maybe the direction of the book got more and more precise, at least certain aspect of the book. And there's a lot more to the story, but I'm gonna leave it to Annika if she's willing to share some more about her project and the book. Yeah.
Please.
Okay. Well, you just saw who inspired me to write about Elan, because Eve actually is Elan in my feeling. It was her, I think, her previous incarnation that wrote the book for me. I cannot explain it in so many words. It's just the inspiration that made me do this, and so Eve is very important to me. And what she said about the ball of ice, it really, this was a summer's day. It was really, really hot. And we went outside. There was a thunderstorm going on. And we went outside. It was dry again. And everywhere there was hail. But only on the mountain. So the moment that we walked back into the village of Onolak, nothing. Just around the cave. That was just amazing. And I think sound is that important. I think people, we don't really believe that sound can do so much and can be so powerful, but it can be. And some people call it magic, and maybe it is. I don't know, but it was fun. We were laughing so hard the moment that we found out it was just the mountain that it had hailed on. That was just an amazing thing. But Eve is important to me, and Eve, for me, embodies everything that Elan is in the book, and words fail.
Well, let me say this. I connected before I was told who Elan was and who she was based on. I was connecting with her. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I love her spirit. I love her free spirit, her energy. And to know that we're talking to Elan today.
It's her.
I so connect with you. And I was even going to ask, who do you identify? as a character in your book, I was going to ask you that today, you know, and I think I know the answer, but who do you identify in the book with, Annika?
Me.
You.
Oh, really, really. Maybe Alfred.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I think that I knew somebody was going to ask me this one day. Who is the person in the book, in the trilogy, that you identify with most? Well, cheers, I'm Alfred.
yay! Everybody, cheers. So I'm the first one that's asked that question?
Absolutely.
Well, I love Alfred, let me tell you. That's great. I identify with Elon. So for all of you who haven't, you know, started reading the book yet, you'll know. Then you're just getting a glimpse of some of the characters, and you're going to feel these characters like I do. I know it. I mean, it's just amazing. So in the chat, if anybody has a particular question to ask, post it here and I can unmute you. But yesterday I want, please let me know. Oh, okay, Judy has a question, so hold on a minute, Judy.
Yeah, you know, I'm really fascinated. Hi, everybody. My name's Judy Painter. I am with a reverend with, it's Sunday, World Awake, sorry, a board of directors, and it's great to be here. I'm really excited to read these books. Actually, I love old historical. I don't know if you ever heard of Stephen Saylor. I read a lot of his books from Italy that are kind of back in early Christian times. So I'm looking forward to the trilogy. And I'm fascinated because, did you ever hear of a book or a cave called The Secret Cave of Discovering Lost Cause? I'm not pronouncing that right. L-A-S.
Lascaux. Yeah,
Yes,
Lascaux.
yes. I read it to kids very frequently when I'm doing kids stories because it's a lovely children's book. But it's fascinating because it talks about all the paintings and all the things on the wall. Are you familiar with it?
Yes, there is another one here as well. It's called Neo. And Neo is similar to Lascaux, only Neo is still genuine. You can still go in and you can still see the original paintings, while at Lascaux they created a sort of replica.
Okay, yeah. So it really exists and it's beautiful. I'll send the book name out. Yeah. What was the second one? It's called Neo, N-E-O?
N-I? Yeah, you go.
U-X.
N-I-X. Okay, great.
No,
okay.
N-I.
Okay.
You go ahead, Annika.
N-I-A-U-X.
UX.
Okay. All right.
Neo.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
There's one thing I would like to add around this story. The day that we went to that specific cave, Annika and I had been collaborating for 3 or 4 years, and that morning in the car. Okay, so 7 years before that, I had a very powerful dream where I was coming in front of the tree of life, and as I scratched on the tree of life, I saw the Christ inside the tree that was made out of clay. And as I dug deeper into the clay, I saw an ancient witch that had been frozen into the clay. And I went up behind that tree of life. There was a cave, which was the Magdalene cave, and Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, was dying with the Holy Family. And she looked at me and she said, if you can free up that woman in the clay, you can carry some of my deepest knowledge around sound. And And then I had a vision of a sorcerer from the north that was a very powerful shaman that gave me a drum. And 7 years later, we were going to that cave, and Anneke gave me that very morning before we did that rituals with the hail and the story of Elan that appeared. She gave me this drum from the people of the north to put around my neck. And I had the whole memory of my dream that was happening in the south of France. And I knew it was going to be a very powerful day. And before we entered that cave, we sang the opening of the Four Direction from ancient Judaism that Anneke taught me, where we call the four archangels, and she called them for us. And I held my drum very high in the sky, and I had a feeling that something very electric was going to go through my whole body. And when we went in and sang, and you know the rest of the story, I felt something really, really powerful was being unlocked in the field. And so this whole journey of Anneke writing her books that are so guided by a higher intelligence that wants to speak of the truth has been also helping me very much to get to know my path, and that ancient knowledge around sound, which is reawakening these ancient knowledge in this era to free up the electromagnetic field through sound and sacred sites and the knowledge of the giants, which is what Elan was also sharing at the time. So I'm just very, very grateful, and going to Greece afterwards was very, very life-changing and powerful. And I hope that the conditions of the world will allow us to deepen that quest together and inspire as many people like all of you today. So thank you. Just wanting to share that synchronicity because it
my gosh,
feels
that's great. Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much.
That is beautiful. Are you having another tour to Greece? As most of you who are new, and some of my friends are on here. Annika is a tour guide, author, and producer, and she does do tours out in the south of France. But you did one, was it last year in Greece, or was that this year? No, it was last year.
Last year. Yeah, in
Last
May.
year. And are you trying to set up another one for next year for Greece?
Yes. Inshallah. Yeah.
Are you doing one this fall, Anneke, also? Are you joining a tour? No? Okay.
No, there's nothing planned because it's so insecure, and Greece at the moment is not really very friendly towards British people. So they're not always letting British people in, so maybe that will pass, but it is a very insecure time to do something which has something to do with an airplane. Because we don't know when they will fly, we don't know how many people can go aboard, we don't know what prices they will use. So it's very difficult to plan a tour already so quickly, because tomorrow is June, and
it sure is.
If I had enough people, if I had like 10 people or 13 people, I would be able to create a last minute tour to Greece, to Santorini, as we planned. But we need at least about 13 people to make that happen.
Okay. So what I'm doing is putting your website, so everyone that is meeting you for the first time today, into the website with jeanne.com. That's her pen name, and her books, so everyone can see her website. And I did send it out in emails. If you didn't see it, I've put it in the chat room too. Boy, I'll tell you what, I think there's 27 participants on here today, your fans. I think we can get 13 people together. I'm one. I would love to go.
Yeah.
I would love to go on that trip. I've never been to Greece. Can I share something with you? And I'm thinking everybody. Herman said, "Me too." So if anybody wants to go, please put "you would love to" in the chat. I'd love to see who's interested in any questions. Please put it in the chat, and we'll get you unmuted and ask questions. You got Sandra McAlpine. She said, "Me too." See, I'm telling you. I wanted to share that yesterday, Annika was interviewed on the radio, and I was lucky enough to be available to listen prior to going and officiating a wedding, which I did yesterday. And there's something you were talking about, and I want to share the reason this touched me so profoundly and deeply, as simple as the words are, is because I'm having a full circle moment from 4 years ago when I was flying out to France. Before my plane even took off. And it's not like this experience hasn't happened to me before, meaning a mystical or spiritual, whatever word you want to give it. And all of a sudden this message came to me, and all it said was the original knowledge. That is all that it said. And I had no sooner sat down in my seat, getting my, self situated to get ready for takeoff, and that just passed by my mind. I was going out there for 10 days on a tour to France and Spain, and I thought, why? I'm a little bit like Elon, okay? It's like I got to explore. I need to know why. But I know that was an intuitive, open moment for me. I was ready, I was relaxed, I was ready for the flight and to go. But those words. And so yesterday, here you are talking, I think you mentioned the word gnosis or Gnostic. And then it was like, then you expanded on it and said something about ancient wisdom or early Christianity, like going back to early times, way before what we thought it was. And then you said the exact words that I heard when I was on the plane, like the original knowledge. And that touched me. So that's 4 years in the making. In other words, I'm saying, okay, what about it? What am I supposed to know? And by the way, that was my third time out there, but each time I've been there, I've had these experiences, but that one was one of my most recent ones. And I love how in the book you bring that into the book, by the way.
Thank you.
Right? I mean, you talk about all of that and the mysticism, and it's like it's all rolled into one. But I wanted to share how deep that was for me yesterday. It felt like a full circle moment, that whole thing. And I realized maybe there's not even words to say. Sometimes there's no words, right, you guys? Sometimes there's no words. But
that's why there's symbolism.
Yes. Yeah. But it was you that connected all of that. That it was like, that is what it is. That is what I needed to connect back to. That is like, I don't even know the words. Like, that is what I need to go back to. And by the way, just to say it simply, that's what your book is doing for me. That's what it's doing. So I heard the words, but this is giving me that deeper connection to the words and the feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you, Patty. It's, I had there was some a question going a little bit in the beginning of your story, and you almost answered it for me, because what made me write those books, what made me sit down and do the hard work, because that's what it is. You have to make a thriller story, so you have to not just add the facts in a book, you have to write a story around it to make it yummy for people to read. It's hiding medicine in a cookie, if you like. And so the thing is that I had, like with my tour guiding, I have the urge to share, but the sharing is very, very easy when I have a group in front of me. Because Althea, she knew exactly what I was doing, because you share with a group only what that specific group needs. And it's totally different from what you do with another group, because they have their own demands, they have their own questions, they have their own needs. So if you write a book, that's going to be completely different, because you don't know your audience. And
Right.
somehow the book does find its way to people who are open for it. I stumble upon books that I thought I'd never read, and they contain things that I needed to know at that time. And this is exactly why I started to pick up the writing, and I thought, okay, let's go through the humiliation of publishing the first book full of mistakes and full of grammar errors and everything, and just learn from it and just do it. And it was rewritten and rewritten until it was okay, and it probably will be rewritten again until it's okay. And The Eye of Ra was a lot better, and the Ringing Rocks of Atlantis I almost did completely by myself. I had a copy editor to take out the grammar mistakes, and in the beginning Gloria Davis was helping me to find the sort of 3D, which I really appreciated. She really taught me how to put the third dimension in the story, otherwise it would be just a lecture. But because I have so much to share, I really, really needed to find a way around sounding too much like a teacher, and to make it a thriller story and a page turner, keeping people to get into the next chapter, because I'm always leaving open endings on the ends of chapters. So that is hopefully the answer to the question that I saw in the chat.
Wow. Let's see, thank you so much. Yes, that was from Linda.
You're very welcome.
Judy asked, and I don't know if you saw this, which book is the first one?
It's The Forbidden Relic, also known as White Lie. The Forbidden Relic is the first one, The Eye of Ra is the second one, and The Ringing Rocks, of course, the third one.
Thank you. And if anybody wants to unmute, if you want to ask a question, feel free to do that. I'm sure she would love to hear your voice. Yay, is that Judy again?
Yeah, you know what? I'm always the one in the front row that asks the questions. I would like to know, if you'd be so kind, how you chose your graphics, your artwork for your front pages. They're absolutely amazing. So if you could tell me your thinking on that.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. No, I did it all myself. It's I'm an indie author, which means an individual publisher, and we have a company called Barinka, and so it's Barinka Publishing, and no publisher would publish these books because they want to make them commercial. They will leave things out. They will create horrific covers that are so, to make it sell better. And I'm like, no, I'm somebody who wants to do everything myself. So I'm completely in charge of everything, and there's no agent in between. So especially, some people say that you have to be able to find somebody to turn those 3 books into a mini series or 3 movies or whatever, because it's great material. It makes people think, and you can you can let the spicy things out and just make it almost Disney-like. And well, believe me, I tried. And there are so many people who want to change the story. That there's just no discussion possible with me when it comes to changing the stories or leaving out characters, because they all play their roles. Everybody has a task in the book, and there's nobody superfluous, or how do you call that? Everybody is needed. The stories are all needed, and if you would put things out, they would lose so much. So yeah, the first person has to come around the corner to say, okay, you be the director and the producer, and and we will provide you a team, and we make it happen. But I don't think that day will come. The world probably isn't ready to see everything in picture yet. Maybe it's meant to be books. Maybe it's meant to work through the brain when reading.
Well, thank you. You've done an awesome job. Spectacular.
I will never give up, because I take every chance that I get, and I believe in the divine flow. So there's a divine timing for everything, and if it's meant to be, it'll be.
Absolutely true. Along with a little bit of an independent woman.
Sorry? What did you
Along
say?
with a little spice of independent woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I want to be in charge.
Yeah.
That's Yvonne. And I did put your Barinka Travel and Tourism website in the chat room for anybody that would like to look at that. And I know someone said that they needed to leave, and I wanted to go. It was Herman, and he says, I hope this is being recorded, because he wanted to see the drum that Eve held up, because he was on audio only. He didn't see it. So it is being recorded, everyone, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Further thoughts on any of the characters? Go ahead.
Yes, yes, I have a website. Someone just asked if I had a website. I'm just answering spontaneously.
I just thought, yeah.
Yeah, it's my name, www.evmarieroy.com. Super simple. It needs a whole revamp, and I'm working on launching my project, which is Journeys of Sacred Remembrance and Sound. So I'm making videos within the next month, and I'll be able to put it on my website, and then you can have more of a full picture of the work, of how to use sound to activate the planetary grid, and the importance of that work in this era where the electromagnetic field is very damaged by the new technologies. So I'm giving keys and tools for people to be on that quest in their part of the world.
So I'm copying and pasting that into, let's see. Oh, let me click the English side, and I'm gonna put that up. Can you click on the English side and it will come up?
It's not the best. We should wait for like you can go on the French side. You can sort through the English one, but it needs a lot of revamping. So the best thing, you can go look at my videos on YouTube. I have my own channel. Eve Marie Roy, and my music is on the web as well on Bandcamp. I cannot write that down now. But the best is really, I'm going to post my videos on my website and revamp my website in the next couple of weeks, so that you can have a better idea of the work with sound and how available it is as a way to transform and heal ourselves, connect with the deeper identity that is within the soul, and also work with the planetary grid and the field of nature. Like human voice is very powerful to
Mm.
create expansion within the field, and it's very much needed right now.
Yes.
That's
So
what we
I
were planning
personally
to do.
agree.
yeah,
We're planning to do this on Santorini.
exactly. Hopefully in France in August. I'm really hoping to make it so we can do another retreat together, Anneke, or September. Yeah, in the south
Oh,
of
that would
France.
be beautiful.
Yes,
Can I come?
please. Yes,
Can I come?
please. Yes, with all the scenes and all these layers of timeline that we can tap
Don't
into.
you think? Don't you think that the fall equinox is like one of the most powerful times out there in France at that time, the fall equinox?
Definitely.
Because and why is that? Each time I've been there, it happens to have been during the fall equinox. And I have found it to be amazing. I don't know if it's just that that's the way the energy is out there all that time, or is there something more particular at that time?
I think it's what you just said. I think all equinoxes are, very tangible here. The autumn equinox is probably very powerful because maybe in the past the Celts and the Cro-Magnon, they did a lot of rituals around that particular time. It's a sort of harvest. They have to make sure that everything is in by that time because the winter will come, and so it's a coming together and a sharing and a collecting, like a squirrel. You're collecting everything. You're teaching your children how to find things in the forest, what mushrooms are poisonous and which are not. And I think around that time, the abundance of nature and having the summer and the autumn harvests and everything, to be thankful. And I think everything to the Mother Goddess, all the prayers to the Mother Goddess is not so much I want this or I want that. It's more like thank you for this and thank you for that. And they still do that in France. I was in a church once, and that was beautiful. It was a church that was always closed. It opened up because we had a group. Peter always knows where to get the key. So we were there and we were inside, and there was this tiny little old lady. And she said, I've never been inside the church, and my husband is buried on the graveyard here, but I've never been inside this church. And she asked if she could sit in the church with us, and she did. And the group left. We were all ready. And the group left, so the little lady was left alone with her daughter. And she started praying to Mother Mary. And the only thing that she said was, merci, 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 for this, for that, for that, for that. She, an endless sea of thank yous. And I was so moved by this because in the Western world, we are so like, oh, God, please let this happen, or please, I need this, or whatever. And we never really think of saying thanks, because if your mindset is every night before you go to sleep, you say, thank you for this, thank you for that, you change because your mindset changes. And I think that is something I've learned from very much.
Wow. I have to agree. I think gratitude is is a very powerful thing. It sure is. We had someone else that asked a question. It was Jeanne Billingsley. What's the next book?
What's the next book? I am working. I had this question before. I was working on an interview, and that question popped up, and it was very, very difficult to answer because I have no idea. I finished the trilogy. Do people think that it needs a fourth book, and FUCK trilogy, and just go on? Maybe, I don't know. It depends how I feel. It depends what kind of information I get. I work very much with inspiration. And the moment that I think that maybe there's another story coming, maybe I need the same time travel team. I don't know. Another question was, are you going to write a travel guide to Occitania, to Qatar country? That is a monster job. It will take years for me to collect all the data, all the pictures that I need to put into it. I've taken thousands of pictures myself in the past 20 years, and I'm sure a couple of them will make that book, but that is a monster job. So I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to relax now that I finished the Ringing Rocks of Atlantis, which was also a monster job. And it took a lot of time and a lot of research for me to get everything in it that I wanted to put in it. And I didn't want to miss a thing. I didn't want to miss sharing anything. So I think I need a good break this year for many reasons.
You feel complete with that? Does it feel like it felt complete for you?
I felt complete after writing The Eye of Ra.
Oh! So that's how that rolls, huh? I wanted to ask you, I know this is just a little bit off topic, but you were recently featured on the History Channel documentary, The Lost Relics of the Knights Templar. And the reason I'm bringing it up is I'm wondering if that's kind of gonna be something that's gonna, I don't know, tap you for another book or another idea or another insight or something. You want to talk about that just a little bit, because it hasn't aired out here in the US. For those who don't know, it hasn't aired yet.
Yeah. It probably will be later this year. Maybe even come Christmas. I don't know. So I'm still in contact with the production company that did it for History Channel. And I was very surprised to be asked. But I've been in a documentary before, so maybe they just stole my name from there. I don't know. I only know that I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really enjoy working with people who are, ground teams who work, and Jane Bramall-Berry was an amazing director. I learned a lot from her. And I wish I'd be able to do stuff like that. I would love to do more documentaries and really put time and energy into that, and write scripts for documentaries. And take people here and explain different layers and do documentaries. So I would love to do that. I don't know if you have the possibility to put the picture up of the Lost Relics, the one that I sent you, so people have an image.
Let me see. The Lost Relics. Oh, of the three of you?
Yeah, the pictures that I sent you,
Yeah.
so people have an idea of what it looked like.
Yeah. And there's another question, and I'll get that and bring that up. You have another question from Linda. For me, when I traveled there, the land in the south of France is so sacred, which I agree with, healing and alive. Do you have a sense of the origins being the Garden of Eden?
Yeah, I think Eden is everywhere.
Oh, that's interesting.
Eden is the planet. Eden is the planet, because we left Eden because we felt we didn't belong anymore. We were chased out, I think more mentally than physically, because around us, the trees and the animals, they haven't been chased out, so they're still there. So we are still there. Otherwise, we wouldn't see the animals. We wouldn't be able to touch them. We wouldn't be able to hug a tree. Eden is the planet, and we need to look after it really, really carefully and really well, and be responsible and durable.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are saying amen. Yes, Eden is the planet. That rings so true in me. Thank you. Totally agree. Yes. Love the answer. And anything else? And I'm getting ready to put up that photo of you. And I'm just trying to get it centered so everyone can see it. And I'm going to do what is called a share. So hopefully this will. I love this picture, by the way. It is absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to do something called share a screen. And let's see if this comes up. And let me know if you all can see it. Right here.
Yeah, there are several caves, and this picture is taken in the Bethlehem cave, and the cave where Eve and I and our group experienced the hailstorm was the Hermits Cave, which is just a couple of 100 meters to the right of this one.
The Hermit
Wow.
Cave.
Yeah, that was the Hermits Cave. And this is the Bethlehem Cave, the one you're looking at now. And this is Hamilton White and Carl Cookson. And they are the two presenters of the show Lost Relics of the Knights Templar. And my company, Panoccitania Media, did a lot of the ground fixing. And I was interviewed a little bit. I was more of a tour guide at that time. But I was able to do that under my nom de plume, my pen name, Jeanne. So I'm happy to be in the media again, and especially because this program was aired to 60 million people. So that was beautiful.
Your knowledge deserves to be heard and shared by everybody on the planet, Anneke. It's so precious.
It is.
Well, I'm doing my best.
Your best is good. Can I just get a cheer to that again? Cheers to you, my friend. Does anybody else have any questions, any further thoughts? I'm going to try and open up this chat. And forgive me because I am still learning some of this. So you are sharing screen. I'm going to stop the screen. We have someone else that's joining. Cheers. Yes. This is lovely. Everybody's enjoying this. You know, I have a question. Yesterday you were talking about something about an initiation that were you referring to this cave during the radio interview yesterday?
I think so. The Hermits Cave is known to be the place where you exit the mountain. On the other side, I think it's the upper village. Then you have a long walk, and then you enter a cave, and then you have to worm yourself through small corridors and going through little rooms and holes, and then go through little corridors again and climb and jump, and by the end you have to crawl out of like a birth channel, and it's so powerful that it has by the Golden Rosicross, the Lecturium Rosicrucianum, the people who are holding that space sacred because they think that the Cathars did the rituals there. And now the Cathars didn't really have so many rituals. They had the Consolamentum, which is the only thing that they really did. They had the Lord's Prayer, which was a very ancient Lord's Prayer. They had the Gospel of John, which was the one that was not heavily edited. You know, the Cathars, they used the knowledge of Pythagoras, and so did Jesus. So it's the Pentacle is Pythagoras. It's 4 elements plus spirit.
4 elements plus spirit.
I have my
Yeah.
pentacle here.
Oh, look
There we go.
I pray with this every day.
Do you?
Saying, yeah.
Just
And I have the stone here from the Bethlehem cave that I put in my pentacle.
All right. You know what
And
I
the
have for you?
Bigarash.
You know what I have for you, Eve?
No, but oh wow.
Armlet. It's yours.
Oh,
First time we
thank
meet,
you.
it's yours. This is the armlet from the book. From the story.
oh my gosh.
Can you see it?
Yes, I do.
It's really beautiful.
Oh.
Oh,
So it's here, waiting for you for the next time we meet.
Let's do this
Oh.
quick. May they open the borders soon.
yes.
I feel like sharing often in my dreams, ever since I met Annika and I was guided to the south of France. I have a lot of dreams about this ancient church in the south of France, and the Essenes, they come and they teach me things about the ancient secrets. And just before that whole pandemic started, Yeshua came into my dream and he said, and it was so profound and so humbling to be in his presence. And he said, you know, you carry within you, and I'm speaking of this for all of you because it's a message for all of us, to all of our feminine part and the parts of us that is so tender and sensitive and that remembers deeply what sacredness is and what sacredness used to be. And he said, we're entering an era of big changes, and you're going to feel deeply challenged to hold on to all this sacred femininity that is within you, but it is crucial for you and the rest of the world that you keep on speaking up your truth. And I'm sharing this with you because it feels like we're all connected to this right now.
Yes. And this was so meant to be for, you know, I'm sorry that we can't travel. I told my husband, I said, I'm ready to get on a plane right now. I need to be out in the south of France.
I
need
know.
to be there.
I
I
think
need
about
to
it
be
every
out there
day.
so badly that tears like you, they've been rolling down my cheeks because I know it's calling me.
Oh, so
And,
much.
So deeply. It's deep. It's very
It
deep.
is. It's from the
And
soul.
Yes. Oh, hugs to you out there. And it's like, and so when I told Annika, I said, well, let's have a book launch on Zoom, and she said, what's a Zoom? I said, it's gonna connect us, right? And I'm so grateful she finally said yes. Because even those who wanted to get on a plane and be out there for your book launch probably couldn't. And look at all of us. This is so divine, and it's happening. And I'm grateful because I feel this is going to open up more things, and those who didn't know about you and your tour guides out in the south of France and Greece, they're hearing about it now. They're hearing about your book. They're hearing about Elon, okay? And I wanted to show this, and I showed Annika earlier. Someone gave me this gift, and look at how beautiful she is. And I was thinking of Elon. Look at her and the little bird, okay? And she's just sitting there. What do you think of that? Isn't that cute? Because I was gonna ask, you know, what does she look like? It's like, she's real to me. And now that I know she is really real.
Can you show the picture that I sent you? Do you think you can
Which
share
one,
that?
babe?
The
I
one
have
of the
several.
painting. The
Oh,
the
of the
painting.
painting. Okay, if you keep talking, I'll get it put up.
All right. So Sami is an artist that lived a couple of decades ago. He died a couple of decades ago, and he's an artist. He's a mystic, and he painted. And I happen to be holding on to most of his paintings, especially one that is extremely valuable for me. And I was already writing about Elan and Antarix and the whole thing. And then suddenly I thought, I think I've got a painting that is exactly that. And it was like not me being inspired by the painting. And it felt really weird because Sami died a couple of decades ago. But somehow that was where they were. That was Elan, and that was Antarix, and that was the valley of Rennes-le-Château right in the center. And
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's the view from where the view from the where you how is it called? The Belvedere. This is it.
Can you see it?
Painting. And it's on my phone it's quite small, but on the left you can see Elan pregnant with child, and she has a phoenix behind her, the phoenix bird. In the center you have the view from Rennes-le-Château into the Rennes Valley, and on the right is Antarix, the Celtic.
Wow.
Oh, you're kidding! So that's Antarx. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's Antarix.
Wow.
And so the thing is that I put the painting up, but I had already written about them, and this painting was not somewhere where I could see it. It was just hidden somewhere. It was in the spare room. So, and now it's in my office. It was guiding me through the rest of the book. But I had already invented the characters, so I thought, wow, this is maybe the past and the future are up a little with this story, and I cannot explain it.
Wow.
It's gorgeous. And it in the colors, I mean, everything. What is this? What's this supposed to be right here?
Where are you pointing at?
It's down like at the bottom. It looks like a golden square.
Oh, right. I have to get up and look.
Oh,
right. It's Celtic. Yeah,
right there.
because it's right there. You know, it's right in front of me. In large, it's about it's 1.20 meters broad, so it's quite big. It's Celtic. Those are Celtic symbols that Sami, the artist, the mystic, put into the whole atmosphere. And there's this the Celtic Trinity inside that you find in Newgrange in Ireland. You've got the moon shining over Elan, and you've got the sun shining over Antarix, which is of course the female and the male aspect. So it's really, really deep.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. It's
Wow.
gorgeous. I'd love a copy of that.
How powerful is that?
Got the picture, so there it is.
You can make a postcard now.
Yes, yes. And and we looked at this photo, and for those who were, here's her trilogy right here. So here's the Ringing Rocks of Atlantis, and the Eye of Ra, and the Forbidden Relic. And so these are, let's see, what else did I have here? And I did put up your website up here so people can have that, and they can always ask me if they don't already have it. And your travel, Barinka travel and tour, they can ask me for that. Let's see, we might have, let me see if we have other stop share. See, I think, let's see if we have other questions. Oh, Tina says, I finally figured out how to chat. Hello, everyone. I know, I'm learning too, but isn't this great that at least we can do this? Lynn says, it reminds me of a gold lozenge from Wessex, England, near Stonehenge.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yes, it's Celtic or pre-Celtic.
Okay, let's see. Anyone else have any questions? Isn't it great that we can do this?
Yeah, there was somebody who
Christina,
wanted to share something with us.
please, and you can unmute yourself, or if you need me to help.
Yes,
please.
hello.
Sorry.
Alles goed.
May I say something? Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yes,
We can hear
please.
you.
If I could share, listening to you, Eve Marie, and listening to you, Annika, and everybody, if I could just share, I was in southern France over the autumn equinox in 2017 with a group of holy women. We were with Ani Williams. I don't know if you know her. She plays the harp. And
Yes.
we had collectively the most beautiful, wonderful, memorable experience. We started in southern France and then we crossed the Pyrenees and ended up in Girona. One experience, if we could share, we were singing in the Garden of Angels, and
Yeah.
at one point I had my eyes closed, and to share with Eve, I saw this almost like a parade of ancient people who wanted me to see them. And one by one, they lined up, and it was like, okay, you leave, I want her to see me now. And one by one, I saw these ancient people who like stood in front of me, and then I would see the next person. And that's never happened before or since.
Wow.
But every day something really unusual happened. One day, the day we went to Rennes le Chateau, I was when we walked up the stairs to go up the tower, I had to hold on because I felt like I was going to go right up into outer space. So that was another experience. And then one morning when we were sleeping on the Mediterranean, I had a dream where a new guide came to me, and he said, I will be your guide. And I've had a new ascended master guide with me ever since. I too have been following Mary Magdalene and the Holy Family probably my whole life. So to discover your book was through Cameron, who was our guide when I went to Scotland last year. And when she said that she was going to be be part of your guide with your book launch this year, which didn't happen, I said, well, I'll get your books anyway. So I've been your friend on Facebook, which has been such a delight. And sharing that I thought I'd have to hurry up and get some hiking boots, which is a big joke because all of our stores here in California are closed. But I tell you, without Zoom and without internet, I think we would all be lost here with the lockdown. So I bless you, and I'm just so grateful for everyone for sharing who we are and how we are in the world. Without song and without prayer and meditation, and without the ability to reach out with love for who we are and how we are in the world, I don't know where we would be. So thank you. And I would love to return to southern France. It was the most heart-opening and amazing experience. And I could just share one more thing. My husband was quite ill. I didn't know how ill he was, but when I was in southern France, I was in the car, and my teacher, Saint Germain, came to me and he said, be prepared, your husband's going to die soon. And when I came home, he did pass away just a few months later. So a lot of things have happened. And the message was be ready, get ready, because a lot of great things can happen if you want. And so I've been in this space of, but what happens next? And it was just what you said, Eve, the idea of being strong and speaking up and taking on our power as strong women, but having an open heart is the message I just keep hearing over and over again, to be kind and to be compassionate and to be and to have passion. And again, kindness, and to stand up and say, no, that's wrong. We're not doing that anymore. We don't do those things. It's time to take a stand. So thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing. This is important. I think there's something very important here, a very important lesson. The moment that you know that you are a soul and you have a body, you start thinking from your soul memory. And that is when all the layers drop away one by one, and you get to see things that your brains would never allow you to see. Because you look with your soul, you look with the heart. You are learning to, everybody is on this road. We're all learning to get over our brains blocking everything that we need to see. And this is when people start getting far memories from long, long ago, or even a deja vu. You know, something very, very short, maybe 1 second, 2 second flashes. Or a home feeling where you're not living at all, but you're somewhere and you feel completely at home. Or, you know, you pick up things like energies and moments, or you pick up somebody else's mind suddenly, you know, just for a second or two. And that is because we are starting to learn to live from the heart, not from the mind.
Yes, absolutely, Anneke.
Did Frank have a question? And did you have
Yeah, hello there. Yes, I have been listening to this, and I probably have a little bit more technical question, actually. Maybe it's because I'm a guy, and the guys are always a little bit more technical, perhaps. But I was listening to a radio interview yesterday evening, and Anneke was also talking about the Pentagram and Pythagoras and things that looks interesting. And I am already interested in the Pentagram for ages, and I'm a little bit in astrology, astronomy kind of thing these past few months, and even longer. And I was wondering if Anneke could elaborate a little bit on that. If the Pentagram actually has something to do with Venus. Because Venus is also connected to Mary Magdalene, and you get into the how do you say that, in the Gnostics and in the sacred knowledge, right?
Yeah. Well, you bang on the subject here, because the Pentagram and Mary Magdalene, they connect through them being the feminine aspect. Mary Magdalene was, I think, one of the first people that stood up for themselves. In those days, 2,000 years ago, she was, as a woman, she had nothing to say in society. They were nothing. And I think she was a very powerful lady. Yes. And emancipated, maybe, you know, very emancipated. And I think she stood for the feminine principle. And that is why they like to connect Mary Magdalene or even Mother Mary with the Pentacle or the Pentagram. Yeah. The Pentagram is the core of the Pentagram is because it is not just the 4 elements, it also contains spirit. And according to Pythagoras, he called it ether because there was something of a divine spark that is inside this planet that makes everybody live. Everything lives. Everything around you, nature, it lives. there is some kind of a divine spark that creates life. So he thought it's not just the four elements, it has to have a divine spark to actually live. So there is a light in the world. And the light in the world was the idea of the Virgin Mary. The Virgin Mary stands for the Mother Goddess, the planet, Mother Earth.
Yeah.
And she has in herself the divine impregnation of the male principle of God. With other words, it's a pregnant planet. So Mother Mary, in her time, she became known as the Mother of God, which is actually just the name of Mother Earth. Mother Earth, or the goddess, was the pregnant lady. She was the pregnant planet, pregnant with life because of the impregnation of the divine rays. And in Egypt it would be Ra or Aten. But maybe a Ra, because Aten Ra was also a combination of the two. So the divineness within the earth is God within us. And the church didn't really like that. The church wanted God to be away from us. So you need the church to intervene between people and God. So they wanted to stand in between. Of course, it would take money for forgiveness and, for asking things to God, and everybody would want money. So the church was more of taking advantage of that. However, they knew that heretics, which is really another word for free thinkers, those people, they knew that the divine spark was in everybody. God was in the planet. It was present all the time. It wasn't a question of having God outside of us. God was very much inside. And the Mother Goddess was always pregnant. She was always carrying the life inside of her. So Mother of God. So the Pentacle became the holy symbol of that covenant with God.
Good to hear that you actually is saying that the God is in every one of us. But I can also remember that as a child, if people were talking to me about God, I was not looking up, I was looking down. So I thought he was in the earth, like the Earth Mother or something like that. I never looked up, I looked down.
That's probably because inside of you, you knew.
Yeah, well, okay. It's good to see you,
I know
Annika.
you.
Okay.
I know you, and I know you have a very, very firm mind of your own.
Yeah, well, I was reading, sometimes things are coming together. And I was reading in a totally different context, something about a pioneer, and that usually pioneers are the one who are mocked at. Oh, he is not in the norm, and he is, let him do it, right? So I think Mary Magdalene was just one of them. And all the others who were mocked and who were thought of because everybody else was afraid to leave their own borders, of thinking and really open their eyes what is there. And still, even still today, you see all fake news and all that stuff. But I'm going offline here. So, yeah, well, call me a pioneer and a free thinker. I'm very proud of that.
And we all are.
So thank you again, Annika. Even it is good to see you.
Good to see you, Frank.
I would love to share something. Thanks for all of your sharing. It's really beautiful to see you all. And a couple of days ago, I was in a cave. I've been researching the ancient sacred sites of the area here, and they are traces of the Templars all the way to here.
Yeah. I remember you telling me this.
We found I work with another historian and archaeologist in the area, and we found some very ancient maps that are marked with all the ancient Templar's codes. Anyway.
Really?
Yeah. So I was in that cave with a friend of mine that has some Cathar blood, and she's one of the first friends that I went to south of France with in the first retreat with Annika. That retreat was a disaster, but it always takes the first time. And I just wanted to bounce on your beautiful sharing, Christina. When I was in the cave, I always go into that cave to pray and receive messages. The spirit of the cave is really strong, and the spirit of the cave said respect. So as we are moving towards this era of great uncertainty and great changes, my friend was telling me, and that's what I've came up through after grieving all my creative project during these last 2 months of like, am I ever going to be able to be an artist again in this world and travel the world and like I've planned to be doing. And there's a deeper purpose, and I really feel like we are here to accompany the transformation of the collective consciousness. And my friend was sitting right next to me in the cave, and she was like, you know, that's what the Magdalene would do. Like the Magdalenes would support people through their resurrection process, the process of resurrection. And I feel like this is beyond whatever our how associated with our ego and what we've been thinking we were doing in this world. There's the deepest aspect is we can find a deep resonance with the Mary Magdalene archetype, and is to how can we, and the Venus and the Pentacle and all of that is how can we go to the source within ourselves and accompany all these fragmented aspects to go through their process and support them with full compassion and love through this planetary transition. And we can do this because we are strong souls, and when we are in love, we're at home. So just wanting to share that and bounce on your sharings.
Wow.
That is so beautiful. When we're in love, we're home.
That
That is so beautiful.
So we all need to be there. We all need to come out there. As we're all getting ready to close for this, and thank you, Annika. Thank you, Eve, Elon. The book, may it travel the world. May it touch your heart. May it make you feel connected. I'm going to show this because I'm just very excited. Can you see that? Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. And I appreciate it. If there isn't anything else. Oh, can I say one thing before we stop? Is Christina
Okay.
still there? Christina? Can I just share one more thing? Merci. The book, this is my book, and I'm not trying to get away from Annika's book, but this is the garden she was referencing, the Garden of the Angels out in Girona. So this is the cover to my book. I just wanted to say that as you were talking, Christina.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Isn't that something? I thought it was just timing. But anyway.
What's the name of your book?
all.
What's the name of your book?
Oh, Sister Sage's Astrological Journeys.
Wow. Wow. Fabulous. Wow.
But
Thank
when
you.
you mentioned the angel garden,
Yeah,
that's
fabulous. Right.
so thank you all very, very much. And I really enjoyed this and this opportunity. And thank you, Annika, for a beautiful book. And I'm going to go finish it.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for being here, for taking out the time to do the celebration, to do the party, and I love you all so very much. Thank you for everything, and especially Rhonda for putting this together. Thank you very much. We should do this again sometime, like an after party or something.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Thank you. Love you all. Mwah. Thank you.
Yes, and
Bye-bye.
we'll keep you posted if Annika and I do a retreat in the south of France in the next coming month.
I'm there.
Definitely.
I'm there.
That would be
there.
amazing.
Yeah.
So you can all sing. We're all gonna sing together to the activation of ancient knowledge in our cell and bring back the memory of the soul
Let's
with
do it.
Annika's. Yeah, that'd be an amazing convergence for all of us.
Okay, you're on.
Thank you so
Because
much.
every year.
Love you all.